If you have nothing to say, don't say it here.
And keep your mouth shut.
Better keep your mouth closed, have people think you're a fool, than have it open and people know you're a fool.
Today's thought of the day, the Hayom Yom, the Rebbe's teachings, is about the Alter Rebbe when he was 19 years old. He went to Mezerich for the first time. He actually went with his brother, but his brother didn't get permission from his wife to go, so he went back. He got permission, so he went. And after 2 weeks, he actually was going to leave.
He was
Going to leave. He's going to leave. He didn't, at that point, experience, I guess, what he thought that he would experience or learn or whatever the case may be. But after 2 weeks, things turned around. And the first Hasidic discourse that he heard, we're not certain it's after the 2 weeks or before the 2 weeks when he first came, from the Mizritcher Magid, who became his Rebbe, was Nachamu, Nachamu. Consolation, consolation, which is the Haftorah that will be read this Shabbos in Shul, about consolation, because we're coming from the 3 weeks culminating with Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, the destruction of 2 holy temples and calamities that befell the Jewish people. So Nachamu, comfort, comfort. So those teachings and an incident that occurred is what made the difference. What made the difference, and he stayed. There's a story that's told that when he was about to leave, so he was studying with the Avram the Malach. He was studying with him, and he was coming, who was the son of the Mizitcher Magid, the Rebbe, the successor of the Baal Shem Tov of the Hasidic movement. And he came to see him off, and he was a coach. This is, we're talking about in 1764, right? It's a few years ago. And he was seeing him off. So he told the coach driver that whip those horses until they're no longer horses. To the coach driver. Some say that there's 2 different opinions of what he said. Did he say that whip those horses that are no longer horses, or whip those horses until that they know that they're a horse? And the Alter Rebbe got the message. You know who we are?
horses.
We're horses. We act like horses. What do horses? What are horses? What do horses do? What do horses do? They want to eat. They want to find comfort. They want to have a pleasant day. That's what they seek in life. So whip them until they know that they're a horse. Don't think you're something more than a horse. You're a horse. Or a higher level. Whip them until that they don't become a horse anymore. Right? A bittul, yeah. A bittul. In other words, and with that, he understood the message. And he got off the coach and he stayed. L'chaim, l'chaim. Welcome to Tanya today. We're going to get whipped. We're going to get whipped. We're going to get whipped with teachings that are going to, that we recognize. Don't think you're such a holy roller. Just because you did something nice today doesn't make you holy. Just because you prayed, just because you gave tzedakah, just because you did everything. Okay, so a horse can also talk. We had a donkey that talked already. So, what's the big deal that a horse could do something, right? I don't mean to be negative here. God forbid, right? But these are the teachings that we're going to recognize. Don't take yourself so seriously and think that you're a holy roller. You're not a holy roller. As you learn enough Hasidus, you'll get whipped with the teachings, that it's going to whip us into place, that at least first we'll know what's what, who's on first and what's on second. We'll know that. And then from there, Mashiach will come and we won't be a horse anymore.
The whole run.
All right.
Tanya.
We are in the fourth letter. Yeah, the fourth epistle. And the Alter Rebbe is explaining to us two levels of the heart. The exterior level of the heart, we can reach it through the mind. The mind can know about God, about the presence of God in the world, God beyond the world, our personal connection with God, and so on and so forth. And the more you know of that, the more it's going to feed the heart, that it will bring to a love of God, a connection to God. But that's only the external aspect of the heart. Then we have the internal aspect of the heart. How do you reach it? So and metaphorically, that was like circumcision. Circumcision, you have the foreskin that you cut off, and therefore the Torah tells us that we should cut off the extraneous part of our heart. We have an extraneous part of our heart, which is extraneous because it's not really about the connection. It's about comfort. It's about being a horse. It's about being comfortable in life, seeking comfort, seeking pleasure, seeking to feel good about yourself. Oh, look how good I am. Look at the mitzvah I did, and so on. That's the horse in me that I need to cut off. I could do that. We could do that. The more Hasidus we're going to learn, the more we think about it, the more it's going to be able to cut off that extraneous part in me, the horse in me, because we're not really a horse. That takes a lot of work, of course, but that's only touching the external. Because deep down, we're not a horse. Deep down, we're not a horse. But deep down, that part of me that's really bound up in one with God, it's caught up. It's being affected by the horse in me, in the sense that it is. I'm not accessing it, and I can't access it through my mind. My mind will not access it. And metaphorically, that's like the membrane in the circumcision. So in circumcision, we have two things. You have to cut the extraneous skin, but then you have to take the force that what's left and pull it back, priya as it's called. And that part is a thin membrane that we pull back. That is metaphorically what God says, that I will circumcise your heart, right? That he says, Hashem, the verse.
Yeah, that's also Rashi Tevot Elul.
Umal Hashem Elokecha is levavchem. Umal Hashem Elokechem is levavchem. That is what God will do. When will He ultimately do it? Times of Mashiach. The inner heart, the inner definition, the inner connection that we have with God that can never become a horse, but it can be contained and in exile, can be imprisoned, is going to be released in times of Mashiach, that we will be connected to God innermost, that God is my life. He is my reality. He is nothing but Him. There's another time today we can have a little taste of that. When is that? Prayer. That's what we learned yesterday. We can have in a time of prayer, because prayer is called Chaye Shah, a moment of life. So it's a moment that God gives us an opportunity that we can sense that He is all of my life. How can you have that? When you're not self-aware in your prayers, when you're so engaged in your prayer that all you sense is your connection. Not even that I am connecting to God, but I am connected. The difference between the Gavra and the Chefza. Got the difference over here. L'chaim, l'chaim. Whoa, connection with everything that we've spoken about so far today. L'chaim. Now goes the Alter Rebbe, and he goes a further step. There's another way that we can reveal, shkoyach, that we can reveal there's another way that we can, let's focus, folks. This needs real focus. There's another way that I can reveal the inner depths of my heart. That the inner depths of my heart is bound up with God. Bound up with God in a way that's beyond logic, beyond rationale, beyond even awareness. It's so unbelievably connected. And it comes from within. It's an arousal from below that precipitates a downpour from above, similar to rain. Rain happens when 2 drops, as our sages say, 2 drops vapor go up, that will bring 1 drop of rain down. Right? That's a metaphor for us to understand that there's that which that comes from below, that now will bring something from above that's greater than what we achieve from below. So in the circumcision, that's what comes from below, is that you cut the foreskin. You cut the foreskin of your heart is what you can do. But then there's something from above that's going to happen that God does for us that will give us a connection and experience in godliness that will uncover the innermost part of my heart and bring me to a love of God, that for the sake of your life, that God is your reality, your life, and everything. And that's taking that innermost part in my heart out of its exile, right? That, and how is it in exile? Why is it in exile? Because what does exile mean? Exile means acting like the horse, that my life is for my own sake, my own pleasures, my own end, my own self-satisfaction. That's what a horse lives for. It's all self-satisfaction, obviously, right? Now, when we now exchange that for that God is my life, that He is my reality, that He is, right, not self-satisfaction, but connection to the divine. That's the counterpart of, right, in holiness, of dedicating ourselves to Hashem, that He is my reality rather than my pleasures and my passions, my desires are my reality. That's the removal of, that's the God bringing to us. So how do we achieve that? How can we achieve that? So now he says the way to do that is through tzedakah, charity. To get to this, right? So why is that? Because there's something unique about charity that is not found in other mitzvahs. And what is that? That charity means your money. It's hard for people to give their money. You know why? You know how I know? Because I ask people for charity and it's hard for them to give. It's hard. Because what do you mean? I need it for me. I need it for my family. It's hard. It's hard. I can't. Or if yes, I'll give. I'm going to give. Right? Why? Because money is your life. It gives you, it feeds you, it clothes you, it shelters you. Especially if you have a limited income, as the Alter Rebbe says. Then it becomes very hard, because then it's really your life. And really so. Not that a person is in a bad way, doesn't want to give. I mean, I'm going to have less as a result of it.
He becomes in charge of his as a result.
Okay, well, no, we're not talking about the person become, no, it shouldn't, you're not allowed to give in a way that you become a charitable case. You're not allowed to give in such a manner. I'm not talking about giving such a manner, right? And furthermore, not only is money life, that it gives you vitality, it's going to feed you, it's going to clothe you, it's going to shelter you, but also, how did you work for your money? So many people have to work physical labor. The Alter Rebbe speaks back in the time today is not so much physical labor like it used to be, but sometimes you have to work blood, sweat, and tears for your money. You got to put so much effort into it to make it, right? And now you disperse with it? Ooh. You know what that statement is? Saying, God, you're my life. Again, you're not allowed to disperse with it in a manner that you become now a burden on the community and you have to go out for a handout, or you have to go now and get charity yourself. Not allowed to do that. That's not correct at all, right? So says the Alter Rebbe, when you do give charity and joyfully in this way, not just that you're giving it. If you're giving a ball and chain, then it's not really a reflection of that God is my life. God is forcing me. Then he's not your life. God's forcing me. He's compelling me. I really don't want to. But if you're giving and you're giving it joyfully, then your statement in that giving, especially when it's not easy, is God's my life.
But it's just doing the mitzvah. I would say, I'm not saying it's enough, but it's a good thing to do.
It's
just doing the mitzvah.
yeah, but that's not the point over here. No. Let's keep. We're talking about over here revealing your inner heart, your inner truth, your inner reality. Could you do a mitzvah and do it ball and chain? Absolutely, but you're not revealing then your inner heart at all. You're not even revealing your outer heart, right? Because outer heart would be your mind would tell you, feed your heart and inspire you to give, right? Here we're talking about beyond that because we're trying to talk about the inner heart where God is your reality. He is your life. So therefore, he's your life more than the money is and more than the work that you did to make the money that was blood, sweat, and tears. That's to reach that, you have to do it this way.
But you can't do that. You can't reach it.
He's saying this is how you can reach it.
Inner.
We're talking about the inner now. Inner part of your
I
heart.
thought you just said that we can't reach it in this world to this time.
Truly, we can't consistently. Now he's giving a way that you could.
Thank you.
Consistently will be in the times of Mashiach. Are we giving charity every moment? No. Are we praying every moment? No.
Okay.
Those are opportunities that we can reveal the inner heart. Those are opportunities that we can reveal the true inner heart. Right? But it's that's not consistently. When will it be consistently throughout your day? That will be in times of Mashiach.
That's nice. Thank you.
I just think I didn't think there would be need for charity during the time of Mashiach.
Huh?
I didn't think there would be need for charity during the time of Mashiach. I thought everything would be.
Well, charity doesn't, charity, it doesn't have to be to a poor person who doesn't have, right? The Jewish people, when they gave to the Mishkan, they didn't give it to people. They gave it to the Mishkan. They gave it to the sanctuary to build to build the tabernacle. That was charity, right? So charity is not merely to poor people. You can give to Chabad. That's the real charity. To give to Chabad.
Charity.
Yeah, tzedakah. Okay, you're right. Tzedakah. Absolutely correct. So when we give tzedakah in this manner, then you redeem your innermost heart that is in a state of exile and captivity by klipa, by the horse and me.
The more money you make, the more charity you can give.
More tzedakah.
So it's a good idea.
More tzedakah.
More tzedakah. So it's a good thing to.
Again, remember here it's not. He's not speaking about amount over here.
Yeah.
He's talking about the manner and how you're giving it. We're not talking about how much.
But you have more
If for one person to give $5 is is really something, is really an effort, right? And for another person to give $5,000 is nothing, right? So the 5,000 might be nothing. That's not really expressing the inner heart, because
Yeah.
maybe he's expressing maybe it's his horse that's talking in him. I want to show you I'm the great stallion over here. I win the race because I got you over the finish line. I gave you the 5,000 that got you to your goal. I accomplished something. So that maybe that's the horse and the stallion inside of you that's talking. We're talking about that no, you gave $5, and for you that was, because of that, I'm gonna have to have a little simple coffee that only cost 20 cents instead of, I go every day with my friends and we sit in Starbucks and I get a $5 coffee, and today I can't get my $5 coffee. I gave it to tzedakah. And I can't sit with them. I'll sit with them without a coffee. Not going to be so comfortable. Not going to be so pleasurable. But you know what? I'm going to give to tzedakah. That can be an expression from your inner heart. Why am I doing it? I'm doing it with great joy because God is my reality. He is my true life. And this is what I got to do. More important than having that coffee, I can have the 20-cent instant.
Tax deductible. 52%.
Max is divided.
52%.
Okay, and this also concludes the Alter Rebbe in today's class that, remember we said in the circumcision, there was cutting of the extraneous foreskin, but there's also then the second part of Priya. Priya means to remove the thin membrane and remove it back. So the term is called Priya, right?
Is that klipa?
No. No,
Okay,
no, that's revealing the inner heart. That's the metaphor of revealing the inner heart, right?
but the actually membrane, it's not klipa.
Well, if you left it there, it's klipa, but if you're moving it back, then right? So the word priya, which means to reveal, also comes from the word priyas choiv, pay back a loan. Removing a debt, actually not paid back a loan, actually means removing a debt. Here you're removing the foreskin, right, to reveal the atara. And here it means removing the debt, right? We have a debt to God. What's the debt to God? Every penny we have is His. And therefore I have to do tzedakah, which comes from the word tzedek, righteousness. I've got to give. And here, if we give it in this way, right, that I take my debt, I'm indebted. Here it actually explains different. Indebted, meaning who's indebted? The inner heart's indebted. Where? To the horse, right? The horse is controlling it. So I'm imprisoned by it. That's it. That's the debt, so to speak, right? Meaning when you're in debt, you're controlled by somebody else who you owe to. They have a control over you in the sense that you owe something to them. Meaning there's a force over you that has a control over you. Now you pay that debt. Remove that debt. You remove the extraneous force of klipa, right? You're removing it, like you said, David, right? You're removing it, like you're removing here in the circumcision, removing it back. Here you're removing it by giving from your money to tzedakah. You're revealing your inner heart. So he's playing it in the very metaphor itself, how you appreciate that. Unbelievable. And with this, he concludes Shaveha B'Tzedakah from this week's Haftorah that we had, right? And for those who are privileged to come 7:05 in the mornings to learn the Maimer that we're learning, Tziyam B'Mishpat Tibad V'Shaveha B'Tzedakah, Zion, and this is the beginning of chapter 4, which we will conclude tomorrow to explain further this idea in the verses. But this means that that the captives will be redeemed through charity, through tzedakah. Who's captive? I'm captive. My inner heart is captive to my extraneous animal soul. That's the horse in me. I'm captive to it. But when I give tzedakah in the manner that we just spoke, we redeem it. How powerful, how amazing, how beautiful.
I have a question.
Okay, with this, folks, just to let you know, wow, what divine providence. We just started our Chai Club campaign. We'll keep you notified about it, of monthly giving. Unbelievable. Wow. I couldn't have written the script better. Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Yeah. All right. Any questions?
I have one question.
Holy, Lori has a question. Do the mitzvah, and if you do not have a desire, do it, and eventually you will come to it. Absolutely correct, Lori. Absolutely correct. Do the mitzvah, and eventually, even if you don't feel like it, right? But here, when you do the mitzvah, eventually you'll even come to the inner heart that you want to do it, and you'll do it because Hashem is your very life, your very reality. Yes, David, go ahead.
For Jews, they give 10% of their net income. For Chassids, they give 20%. Can you give more than 20%?
So we learned about that previously. You could, but you could when you're doing it because you recognize that through giving, it actually brings a healing to the person. And for physical healing, if we needed to spend half of our money that we have, right, to physically heal us, otherwise we wouldn't get healed, we would spend it, right? We would spend it. So for spiritual healing, likewise.
Maybe so, Tommy, it's important to have a budget. So if you have a budget, you know exactly how much you're giving.
No question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do tzaddikim need circumcision? Do the righteous need circumcision? So remember, so the righteous, they did circumcision, right? That's why they're righteous. In other words, they don't have a horse in them anymore. And that's what the story that we said in the beginning. There's two versions of what Avram the Malach, right, said to the Alter Rebbe, right, to our teacher, what he said to him. A 19-year-old, he was a 19-year-old, right? He said to him, whip the horses until they know they're horses. That was the first level, right? Until that we recognize, we think we do good and we think we're special because we did good. Whip, learn till learn that hey, just because I'm teaching here, you Tanya, I'm not a holy roller. I'm like you. We all have a desire, physical desire for things. We want things. We want to have comfort. We want to have pleasure. We're driven by that. I know that. That's a part of me. And I'm not going to fool myself and think, oh, I'm a holy guy doing mitzvahs. I do mitzvahs like you do mitzvahs. I'm not different than you. The righteous are different. The Alter Rebbe was different. Right. Second level is whip them till they're no longer a horse. That they take the horse inside of you, and that's a righteous person. A righteous person, he ain't got a horse in him anymore. All he's got is the divine. Come to that. Right here, we can reflect that. We can reveal that through our tzedakah, which is amazing. Right. but we're not doing it throughout the day. And even when we're giving tzedakah, not necessarily we're doing it in this way. But the righteous, in everything they're doing, there is no desire for comfort. There's no desire for self-fulfillment. All there is a desire is to connect to God, to do what God wants, to be a reflection of God, that God is nothing else but my life and my reality. Not just consciously, in their heart, that's what they feel only. We have, in our heart, we don't, we might feel that sometimes. We might say it because we believe that that's the truth. I believe it's the truth. It's the truth of my inner heart, my inner soul. That doesn't mean I'm living it. John has a question. Where's your question, John? Or did I deal with that before? Put 2 question marks before you ask a question. There it is. Is the frequency of tzedakah on a daily basis as important as the amount given? Excellent question. I'm going to be dealing with that. We actually dealt with it in the previous letter, but we spoke about the code of mail. So more often you give, the more often you have the connection to God. More often you have the opportunity that you could, when you give in this manner that we spoke, that you're giving. More often that you're giving in this manner, so more often that you can have this connection in this manner, right? Which is amazing. So, yeah, more often the better. And as the Rambam actually writes also, the more often you're giving, really, what are you doing? You're even if we're not revealing this level of our soul, but we are refining ourselves. We're whipping. We're getting whipped. Because the more often I'm giving, the more often I'm taking something that, 2 things, remember, there are 2 points over here. One is, with this money, I could buy comfort in my life. I could buy maybe essentials of things that I need in my life. And now I'm giving, and furthermore, I worked hard for it. I really worked hard for it. Didn't come easy. And life is a bit of a struggle, or financially it's a bit of a struggle, and yet giving, wow. Okay. So folks, I'm putting it out there now that we are in the middle of a campaign, or just starting a campaign, and you can come forward on your own, or eventually you could get asked. Amazing, 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 all of you.